Hi everyone, welcome back to Connie's English, where we make learning English fun and easy. Today, we are going to improve our English by reading an interesting piece of news from Australia. This news is about a new law that gives workers the right to disconnect after work hours. Let's read the full article together, and I will help you with any difficult words or phrases. Before we start reading, let me give you a quick overview.This article is about how workers in Australia now have the right to disconnect from work after hours, which means they don't have to respond to emails, messages, or calls from their bosses. Sounds great, right? Now, let's read the full article together. Australia has become the latest country to let its workers disconnect outside of working hours. So here, disconnect means...Workers don't have to stay connected to their jobs all the time. Let's continue. A new law came into force on the 26th of August for people working in companies with more than 15 employees. Came into force means the law officially started on that date.Some in Australia have said that working life in the 21st century is like being tied to a digital leash. In the same way that a dog is tied to a leash, workers are tied to their jobs 24 hours a day because of the emails and messages they can receive on their phones at any time. Digital leash is a metaphor. It compares being constantly connected to work to being tied up.Just like a dog on a leash, it's a powerful way to describe how some people feel about work. Let's keep going. But that leash has now been cut for many employees in the country. Michelle O'Neill, from the Australian Council of Trade Unions, said it was good news for workers. She said it would mean more money in your pocket, more time with your loved ones, and more freedom to live your life. Here,Cut the leash means that workers are no longer bound by this constant connection to work. It's a positive change for many people. Bosses can still contact their employees outside of normal working hours, but those employees now have the right to refuse the contact in most situations.This means that while bosses can still reach out after working hours, employees are not required to respond unless it's absolutely necessary. That means they don't have to reply to emails or messages or answer calls from their superiors or clients. The law does not give a lot of detail about when it's okay for a boss to expect their employee to answer the phone,But it's hoped that businesses will respect the law and the rights of their workers. It's a bit of grey area, but the law is designed to protect workers' time outside of work. Let's finish up the article. Many people in Australia have said they are working many hours than they are paid for, something that has been happening all around the world. This is a common issue.And it's great that Australia is taking steps to address it. A number of other countries already have laws or other rules that let people disconnect outside their working hours, and people working for businesses with fewer than 50 employees in Australia will get the right to disconnect from August 2025.So this law is not unique to Australia, but is part of a growing trend around the world, and smaller businesses will also have to follow this law in a few years. Great job following along. Now let's take a moment to review some of the key phrases from the article. Right to disconnect.This means the legal right for workers to not respond to work-related communications after working hours. Digital leash, a metaphor for being constantly connected to work through digital devices like phones. Cut the leash, an expression meaning to free someone from something that restricts them. In this case, constant work communication.Came into force. This means that a law or rule has officially started to be applied. Let's see how we can use what we've learned today in real-life situations. You could say something like, I'm glad my company respects my right to disconnect after work hours. Being on a digital leash is so stressful. I'm glad we are starting to cut it. Now it's your turn. Try making your own sentences with these phrases. That's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.